are going to make a textured tree trunk drawing. And to do that, you are going to need a piece of paper. You will need a marker of some kind. I'm using a Sharpie, but you can just use any black marker. And then we are also going to need some crayons. I've got my big set of crayons here today. All right, so to start off, we are going to take our marker and we're gonna actually draw three tree trunks on our piece of paper, and they are going to be close up. So that means we're not going to show the branches, we're just going to show the trunks, and we're going to draw some organic lines. And we've learned a lot about straight lines and organic lines. So remember, organic lines are sort of irregular, they might be kind of wavy and such. So I'm going to start way on the side of my piece of paper. My paper is going the long way. And I'm going to start with a line that's just going to kind of go up. It's not going to be real wavy, but it doesn't need to be real straight either. And then right next to it, a little bit further over, you see how thick you want your tree trunk. I'm gonna do the same. And I kind of tried to make it a little bit wider at the bottom and then maybe go a little bit closer to the other line towards the top, because that's how tree trunks usually work. They're wider and then they get skinnier as they go up. Then at the top, I'm going to make a little V, and that too can be kind of a wavier V. It doesn't have to be real straight, because that's where the tree trunk starts branching off. All right, then I'm gonna make a space. I'm gonna do another tree trunk in the middle. This one could be a little bit different because all tree trunks are different. All trees are different, right? So this one, maybe I'll go like that. And maybe I'll make this one a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna go a little wider, but then I'm gonna try to bring it closer to the middle here, and then maybe I'll go out again a little bit. Maybe that one curves a little. Again, yours can be any way that you want to do it. And again, I'm going to make a little V at the top, and maybe this V goes like, oh, it's a little crooked like that, like curves off. And then lastly, I'm going to make a skinny tree trunk here. Sometimes there's those trees that are just really skinny all the way up. So this one, I'm just gonna make kind of a wavy line like that. And maybe this one, I'm not gonna put a V. Maybe it keeps going up. It's really tall and it branches up off the paper. So with this project, since they're up close, we're really using our space, right? We did this when we talked about flowers and Georgia O'Keeffe, and we had those huge petals that are going off the page. We're doing the same thing with these trees. We have to imagine that the rest of the tree is going off of the paper. We're only seeing a close-up picture of the trunks. Okay, now we're going to add some texture to the tree trunks. So as we learned, texture is how something feels. And sometimes in our artwork, you can't actually feel it, but you can draw it so that it looks like it feels a certain way. And usually we learn that tree trunks are not very smooth. Usually they're kind of bumpy, they have some grains in them and things like that. So we're going to draw some lines. There were ideas of ways that you can draw the lines. You can do them any way that you want. This is a close-up picture, so if you're really close to the tree, you'd be able to see the texture of the tree. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna draw a couple knots first. So just kind of like a little bit of a spiral and then some curved lines around it. I'm not gonna do it all over the tree. I mean, you can do as many as you want, but maybe I'll just do about 2, okay? And then I'm gonna draw some like organic lines that are vertically coming down. Like that, it's a little curvy. Okay, so now I want you to do a different texture on each tree. So now this tree, I'm going to need to do something different. So this tree, maybe I will do more of this little curved line. Again, you don't have to pick the same textures that I picked. And there were ideas on the slide before that gave you ideas on what types of textures you could draw. But if you have your own ideas, you could do your own ideas too. as I get towards the bottom, I'm gonna make the U's a little bit bigger. Okay. And then my last one, I'm gonna do some little tiny groups, little patches of horizontal lines. Maybe they're even like going off the side, right? Because our tree would be round and they would keep going on the other side. Okay, we have that done. Now what we're going to do is color in each of the tree trunks. And to do that, we are going to choose a color. I'm going to choose brown. I'd like you to choose a realistic color for this. So, you know, a brownish color, a grayish color, something like that. And to color each of them, we're going to use value. So remember, value is how light or dark a color is. And I want you to start with one type of value. So we're going to start with a dark value. And then as we go to each tree, it's going to get lighter and lighter. So that means I need to push harder with my crayon on this first tree. I'll just do a little section of it. Okay, I'm gonna push and really try to get all of, oh, look how hard I pushed. I cracked my crayon. It'll still work. Now I just have to have a smaller crayon. Okay, so there is a value, dark value. Now for the next one, I'm going to color, and this time I'm just going to press like a regular amount. Okay, so it looks a little bit lighter. The value has changed. So it's going to look like 3 different shades or 3 different colors basically, even though we're using the same crayon. And then on my last tree, I'm gonna go really light. So I'm hardly gonna push down at all. Like that. Okay, see how I've changed the value of this one crayon? I'm gonna work on that and finish coloring my tree trunks using dark, a medium, and a light value. Okay, I have all of my trees colored in. I broke 2 brown crayons in the process. That's what happens sometimes when you're really trying to color dark and change the value of your color. But as you can see, there's a dark, a little bit lighter, and a very light brown. So we've changed the value of that one crayon color so that it looks different. Now we're gonna do the background. And the background is going to also be one color. You can choose what color you want. Maybe you want it to be like nighttime and be like a blue sky, or even like a dark purple. Maybe you want it to be a sunset, and in that case you might want to choose a orange or a red, or even a dark yellow. Or maybe you want it to be green grass. And so in that case, you might choose what? Green, right? So I'm going to choose a sunset today. So I'm choosing an orange. But again, you can choose any color you want to be your background, which is going to be the sky. And we're going to have some value in our background as well. So that means many times if you look at the sky, the higher up in the sky, the color of the sky is lighter up at the top and darker towards the bottom. So I'm going to take my one crayon and I'm going to color darker down here in the bottom part, a little, just like we did here, then a little bit lighter in the middle and very light towards the top. And in between, I'm gonna try to blend them. So actually, let me start in this middle section. So at the bottom, I'm gonna go really dark. See if I can do this without breaking my crayon. But if I do, oh well. That's what comes with being an artist. Sometimes we try not to break our crayons, but it happens. And luckily they still work when they break. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe go a little bit higher up. Sometimes I like to hold my crayon like this when I go really dark, like this. It's like a little bit easier for me to control it and be able to carry and be able to color dark without breaking the crayon. But you can do it any way that's comfortable for you. Okay, see how dark I did this down here? Now that I'm kind of in the middle here, I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. Not too light. And do that, you know, in that whole middle section. Now, let's look here where the dark meets the little bit lighter. And you can really see kind of that line there. I'm gonna try the best that I can to kind of blend it in there. So I'm gonna go back over that little line there with my crayon and just kind of go over it a little bit and color in a little bit darker right there. See how then it doesn't look quite so much like a line after I kind of go over that line a little bit. Go over that, and then at this top section, just like my tree over here, I'm gonna go really light. Keep catching the end of my page there. Like that. And then, just like I did with the dark section, this line here in between, I'm going to try to kind of blend it in together. So kind of go back over that area and push a little lighter so that it kind of blends in together. All right, and here you can see it's like dark to medium to light. And I'm gonna do that in all of the sections. Now this little area right here, I'm not gonna do dark, medium, light inside this section because this section is in the light section, right? So this little V here, I'm only gonna color light because that's the section that it's in. I'll just do those right away since. All right, okay, I'm gonna work on that. Okay, and there you have it. I have my dark coloring at the bottom, gets a little bit lighter. I tried to blend a little bit in between, go back over that area a little bit so it didn't look like such a line, and then a little bit lighter as we get higher. I've got my textured trees, each with a different texture drawn on it, and each tree drawn or colored with a different value. So even though we only used 2 crayons on this picture, it looks like we used more than that because of the value, of changing the value. I cannot wait to see how you choose to draw your trees, what textures you choose to draw on them, and what colors you choose for your background. Remember, just 2 crayons, 1 crayon that's going to be the color for the trees, you're just changing the value, and then 1 color for the background, you're just changing the value of it. So we're not using different crayons for the background, just 1 crayon and coloring dark and then lighter and then even lighter. All right, have fun with your up close textured trees and post them on Seesaw when you're done so that I can see them. Have fun.